Chapter 587, A Master of Spiritual Power. This chapter is updated by Novels.pl. Juan Muya clasped her palms and activated her genuine chi. She struck her palms downward and a gigantic, 7-meter handprint appeared. Break through it. The man in black, Cao Ying, quickly turned his wrist and thrust his 4-meter sword forward. 36 sword shadows broke through Juan Muya's handprint. He aimed for another strike at her. Juan Muya pointed her forefinger and middle finger together in the form of a Jianzhu. The Jianzhu clashed with Cao Ying's sword, making a clanging noise. Qi columns from the two burst forward. They turned into thousands of razor-sharp sword qi, permeating the entire courtyard. Crash! The frames of the building started collapsing one after the other. The sword qi left bowl-sized marks on the ground, covering it with cavities. The fighting noises caused the demonic sect warriors to come from all corners. But they could not go against their superiors of the fish-dragon realm. The sword qi soared around the courtyard and pierced through these inrushing warriors, killing them on the spot. Zhang Yuochen observed silently and gently shook his head. Earth Realm and Heaven Realm warriors should not intervene in a fight between Fish-Dragon Realm superiors. Anyone who did that was asking for death. Even if he tried, Zhang Yuochen would not have been able to save many warriors. Zhang Yuochen did not want to intervene between the demonic sect and the black market. After all, he needed to be extra careful on this trip to the Eastern Evil Land. To keep his identity a secret, it was best for him not to provoke anyone. He had only one goal, to kill Di Yi. Juan Muya landed rather hastily on the ground. The 5 fingers of her left hand were bloodied. Quite clearly, she did not have the upper hand in the fight. Cao Ying landed too. He walked over with a long sword in his hand and snorted. This chief of the demonic sect is just so-so. You two wouldn't have been able to beat me had I not been poisoned. Juan Muya's breath became feeble and her arms kept shaking. Fang Ji strode up from behind her and sneered. Juan Muya, you won't be able to escape today. Whiz. All of a sudden, there was a subtle sound of something whizzing through the air. A green needle, as fine as a cow's hair, flew in from the direction of the red tower. It was heading for Fang Ji's back. Fang Ji's ears were wriggling. He turned swiftly to face behind him and thrust his short spear forward. It struck the fine green needle. Wham! The green needle exploded. A massive, whirling mass of energy hit Fang Ji, and he had to take 3 steps backward. Astral wind-breaking needle. Anger shone from Fang Ji's eagle eyes. He looked around and shouted, "Who is it? Get out now." The astral wind-breaking needle was a level 8 genuine martial arms. It was capable of ripping through a monk's protective vigorous chi and causing an explosion in his body after emitting massive energy. Even a superior in the 6th change of the Fish-Dragon realm would probably die after being hit. From outside the courtyard came the sound of rushing wind. Someone appeared to be moving around quickly, constantly changing her positions. She sometimes emerged from the east and sometimes from the west. No one could tell where she was. A loud female voice rang out in the air. Fang Ji and Cao Ying, you impudent rascals. How dare you fight people from the moon worship sect? Don't you know the Blood Cloud sect will be exterminated for that? The hidden woman injected genuine chi into her voice, forming powerful, piercing sound waves. Cao Ying's eyes turned icy cold. Since your highness the saintess is here, please show yourself. It was obvious that Cao Ying and Fang Ji were well prepared. They had known beforehand that both Juan Muya and the saintess of the demonic sect were in Liuan City. Zhang Yuochen's heart felt a slight tremor. He raised his head in the direction of the red tower. He was certain he had heard the voice of Juan Mook signaling. Did she leave the Saint Academy and return to the demonic sect? When Wan Zeoi was arresting Zhang Yuochen at Saint Prince's mansion, he had claimed that Zhang Yuochen was colluding with the demonic sect and to kill the soldiers of the primitive world. Since the Ministry of War knew about this, Zhang Yuochen believed that the ministry could unravel Juan Mook Singling's real identity from the happenings in the wood spirit primitive world. As her identity had been exposed, Juan Mook Singling could only return to the demonic sect. Zhang Yuochen guided his genuine chi to the meridians around both of his eyes. He began scrutinizing his surroundings and soon detected Juan Mook Singling. Her movements were very quick but her cultivation level was too low. How could she possibly fool Zhang Yuochen? Lynx Eye, be quick and run. said Duan Muya. I can't escape. Fang Ji stared coldly and soon pinpointed where Mu Ling's eye was. He dashed forward. Bang! He rammed his body against the wall and stretched his huge hand out to try to grab Mu Ling's eye's left shoulder. Duan Muya had wanted to help her, but Cao Ying forced her back. He stabbed Duan Muya in her belly, leaving her a deep wound there. Mu Ling's eye had just reached the completion of Heaven Realm. She was no match for Fang Ji. Mu Ling's eye was captured by Fang Ji within one move. The Saintess of the Moon Worship demonic sect is just so too. Fang Ji's 5 fingers clutched Mu Ling's eye's left shoulder tightly. Poison from his fingers ate into her warsuit and dark toxic fumes started billowing. Mu Ling's eye was fortunate enough to be wearing a warsuit. Otherwise, the poison from Fang Ji's hand would corrode her skin, resulting in blood and pus. You wouldn't be my match had my cultivation not been sealed, Mu Ling's eye remarked coldly. Swoosh! A white ancient sword soared out from Mu Ling's eye's left eye pupil. It was headed straight for Fang Ji's heart. This ancient white sword was more slender than a needle. The moment it pierced into Fang Ji's heart, it turned into a 5-meter holy sword. Ancient crimson inscriptions were flashing along the surface of the sword. The inscriptions moved up and down, increasing the ancient sword's power. Fang Ji was a battle-seasoned veteran demon. Although Mu Ling's eye had caught him off guard, he reacted in the shortest possible time. Bam! He let go of Mu Ling's eye's left shoulder, propelling himself backward using his legs. Fang Ji looked at the bloodstains on his chest, and at the ancient sword Mu Ling's eye was holding. His stare turned cold. He started laughing loudly. Wonderful! What an exceptional holy sword! Your Highness, this holy sword will be mine from now onward. Fang Ji secretly gathered his power and edged toward Mu Ling's eye. Faced with such a powerful enemy, Mu Ling's eye could only move backward. Small beads of sweat started gathering on her forehead. She was the saintess of the demonic sect and had many trump cards. Even so, her cultivation was too low compared to Fang Ji's. If they were to battle each other, she simply could not win. Furthermore, when Fang Ji was clutching her left shoulder, he had dislocated her shoulder with a subtle wrench. Now she did not have enough strength even to lift an ounce. Mu Ling's eye could have easily used an imperial edict and escaped. But she simply could not leave Duan Muya behind. Despite knowing that she was not his match, she could only continue fighting. She was trying to find a way to fight Fang Ji alongside Duan Muya. Zhang Yuochen was worried that Duan Muxingling would suffer a huge defeat in Fang Ji's hands. He could not help but say, 2 grown men fighting 2 feeble women. That's not quite right. Fang Ji stopped in his tracks and glared at Zhang Yuochen. He said coldly, young lad, I am the number 8 killer of the Blood Cloud sect. Fang Ji, you'd better be sensible and drink your tea quietly. Don't intervene. Zhang Yuochen sat by the table and toyed with his jade teacup. He laughed. The Blood Cloud sect. What an interesting name. Unfortunately, I have just concluded a business deal with the proprietress, who will deliver my goods if you capture her. Zhang Yuochen changed his voice deliberately to make himself sound flippant. He wanted to let the others think he was a young, profligate swordsman. Mu Ling's eye glanced at the young man sitting by the pond. Because of a pillar, she could not make out his figure. Fang Ji snorted coldly. I shall deal with you after I capture this saintess of the demonic sect. Fang Ji bent his fingers quickly to form 2 black claws. He was using an inferior class ghost level martial technique, the White Bone Ghost Claw. The White Bone Ghost Claw had evolved from another martial technique, the Hell Ghost King Claw. The latter was a superior claw technique of the Black Market Excellence Hall. Although White Bone Ghost Claw could not match Hell Ghost King Claw's power, it was still a very sinister and profound claw technique all the same. Crack! Fang Ji's 10 fingers became longer and longer, as he swiftly clawed at Mu Ling's eye. Before his claws had reached Mu Ling's eye, dozens of white bone claw prints had appeared in the air. Within a 300-meter radius, countless shadowy claws danced about. Strong gusts accompanied them. The toxic fumes condensed into a poisonous cloud, enveloping Mu Ling's eye and Fang Ji. Mu Ling's eye's present level of cultivation was too low to fend off Fang Ji's White Bone Ghost Claw. Even with the help of a holy sword, She could only be moving backward. It appeared that the white bone ghost claw was about to land on Mu Link's eye. Jiang Yuochen sighed and stretched out one finger to point to the heavens. Heaven and earth spiritual chi quickly gathered and condensed into a lightning bolt. Clap. A thunderbolt the size of a wine cup thundered midair and hit the top of Fangji's head. Instantly, all the paw prints and toxic fumes disintegrated. Fangji's body was completely charred. His hair was standing on its ends, and his scalp had ruptured, causing fresh blood to spurt. The strike had alerted Duan Muya and Cao Ying, who were fighting. The two stopped fighting at the same time and stepped backward, glancing at Jiang Yuochen, a master of spiritual power. A serious expression could be seen on Cao Ying's face. He started to become vigilant. Despite his high cultivation level, Fangji could not escape the spiritual power strike. This man's spiritual power was very powerful indeed. It was terrifying to see a master of spiritual power casting spells using a psychic staff. He alone was capable of combating a group of warriors from the same realm. Warriors could not match a master of spiritual power in the same realm. Duan Muya was surprised as she stared at the mysterious man with the metal mask. She had not expected the man to be an exalted master of spiritual power.